Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Revanchist. I apologize to anyone who ever saw any of my previous videos, what few there were, for my long absence. The reasons for which are pointless to go over, as they are various and unimportant. The important thing is, I have returned today with another video to talk about a game some of you may not know about, but I suspect any of you who would be interested in playing a game like this probably do already know about it. But just in case you are not, I'm here to talk about Dungeon of the Endless, as you can see by the title here. What is Dungeon of the Endless? Well, Dungeon of the Endless is part of the Endless franchise, developed by Amplitude. Some of you may know some of their games, such as Endless Space or Endless Legend. They're currently producing Endless Space 2. And without further ado, let us go over the options here. We'll show you what kind of options there are for the game. Now, the graphical demands are basically non-existent, because it is a roguelike tower defense hybrid. So as you will suspect, the graphics are not an issue for any computer setup, pretty much. You can rebind all the keys, so typical. Different resolution modes. Your standard options. The journal. We'll go over your stats. Very basic stats, and then there's multiplayer, which I've not done, nor will I be doing in this video. Now, for the purposes of this, I will start a new game. You can only have one save file with this game. After you watch this cutscene. Now, here's where you select the two squad mates you will start with. Now, for the purposes of the video, I will be putting it on too easy, because it would be a really dumb video if I died immediately. Now, with this game, you can select different setups to start the game with that will provide different benefits. For example, this is the generic one. Provides no benefits whatsoever, as you can see up there. But there are several different ones that you have to unlock by completing the game multiple times, so this encourages replayability. And what do we have here? We have the infirmary pod. And you can read the benefits of this pod up here. And if they don't make sense to you, well, they might shortly. Of course, I'm sure if you've played roguelites, for the most part, you understand the basics of how this game works already. And then you have the armory pod, the library pod. This is one of the special ones. As you can see, you need an achievement, or you need to research all the modules, minimum level 1 in a winning game, which means you need to finish the game having researched at least every level 1 of all the modules. We will get to the modules. This is the refrigerator pod. This is the drill pod. Now this is the endless mode. Ha, pun intended. This mode is basically, as it says up here, an unwinnable game, meaning the game just keeps going forever. Just endless levels of dungeon. Then there's the sanitary pod. And then we go back to the original. Now, these are various characters you can select from. Most of these are locked when you're starting the game fresh. I believe the only ones that are available at the beginning are Max, Sarah, Gork, and Nurse Dina. I believe these four are the only ones initially available, if memory serves me correctly. And if you get the DLCs, you get the guys from Team Fortress 2 along with you. The rest of these guys are all unlocked through gameplay. For the purposes of this, I will be going with Elise and let's see. Nurse Dina. Now, a quick aside before I begin. There is a very small amount of story for these characters. Each one of these characters down here, they have a particular quest line related to another character. For example, Elise here, and I believe Gork. I believe they are the ones who have the side quest. Now, again, like I said, each character has a different side quest. And what this means is, like, basically, like, for example, these two here, she's a bounty hunter who, you know, pushes the line a bit far to get the job done. Basically, you know, she blows things up and goes overboard. And Gork is a intergalactic criminal who likes to butcher people, hence the nickname Butcher. Haha. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it has been a while, forgive me if I'm mistaken, that Elise is trying to capture Gork for the bounty. You know, dead or alive, doesn't matter. At least in her case, doesn't matter. So if you pair them together, as you progress through the dungeon levels, this quest will progress during the in-between sections in the loading screen. What this means is they will have you know, in between each dungeon level, there's like an elevator ride, which is the loading screen for the next level, and they will exchange dialogue. And it will progress that way until it eventually comes to a head, and they may try to kill each other, they may not. Who knows? Now, each one of these companions down here, they each have another quest with another companion. As you can see, I haven't played this a whole lot because I don't have a whole lot of people unlocked. But for the purposes of demonstrating the gameplay here, I'll start with these two. Alright, so this is the interface for the game. Now, the whole purpose of this particular game is to escort this gem to the elevator at the end of the level. So how do you do that? Well, very simple. You go through each room until you figure it out, until you find the exit. You can zoom out, see the overview map. Now this here is a node in which you can build a module. For example, I just built a research module right there. And what that does, it generates 3 science per turn. Now, how are turns determined? Well, turns are determined by opening doors. For example, if I open this door, that's a new turn. Now, each turn generates a select amount of resources. You can see by the plus sign there. You get plus of whatever that number is every time you open a door. Now, there are obviously a limited number of rooms per level. So you can only generate so many resources per level. So you must use them appropriately. This is your dust. This is the currency. Dust is a part of the Endless Universe. It is explained through the lore. You can discover that if you wish. It is a bit complicated to explain. This here is a research terminal where you can research new modules and different technologies to help you progress through the game. And this is your research points, this little symbol here. Research times 3 turns. So if I wanted to research something, let's say a Tesla module here, click Analyze, and the research counter is again up there, so I have 23 points. That will be all of my points. And there we go. Now once I open 3 more doors, that research will be finished. So for example, let's go into the next room. Oh, look at that. Found a special object. Food. Excellent. So now our food counter has gone up. And now we can get a food replicator. What do these do? Well, that's very simple. Each one of these adds to these counters. See, that was 6, now it's 9. With the food replicator, I now generate more food per turn, if you will. Now, what are these? Now, you're probably wondering, what are these little things here on the ground? Well, these things on the ground are where you build your tower defense type equipment. For example, this is the basic turret that you start off the game with. Plop it down, and they will shoot at any enemy that comes into this room. So, let's open the next door and see what's inside. Now see, there's enemies in here. Now, these enemies, it's very important to note. The enemies are just going to constantly make a beeline for the gem. That is their entire purpose. This gem. They will just run by you completely to try to get this gem. So the whole point is to find the exit while making sure they can't reach the gem. Because when you find the exit, you have to run back here, you have to grab the gem. Well, you'll see. You'll see when we get there. So for now, let's build... Can't do that yet. So let's open this next door. Let's both get rich, or at least me anyway. Ha ha ha. Uh-oh. Large amount of enemies here. That's not good. Crystal's being attacked. That's never a good sign. Now. Now each companion does have special abilities. They have an inventory, and you can equip them with different types of gear. Now they each have passive skills and active skills. At the moment there are no active skills because they're level 1. But they do have them. You can level them up with 30 food. You can level her up here with 30 food. You heal her with 3, which I will do now. Now you have to be very careful, obviously, and manage all of your resources extremely carefully. Now if I had a mechanical-minded companion, I could repair this terminal. But, alas, I cannot. So, it's not a big deal at the moment. So I'll just plop a few more turrets down here to protect the crystal a little bit. Now this guy, let's get back over to this guy, now that the danger has been averted. Because this guy here is a merchant who will sell you things in exchange for research points. So for example here, different weapons. Now, not any companion can use any weapon, obviously. Like for example, like right here. You see this gun symbol here? Looks like an Uzi. That's a very different type of gun than these, which has a more... which kind of looks like a flare gun symbol. Well, it looks like that to me. So, different kind of gun altogether. Now, let's check her. Let's see, she can use these guns. So, let's find one for her That looks good. Let's go with quick draw here. And we will now equip her with it. There we go. Now she has 14 extra attack power and a small reduction to cooldown. So, let's get her back up there. Now, of course, it's not always beneficial to open every door. I want to be very clear. Because the more doors you open, the harder it'll be to escort the gem to the elevator. Because with every door you open, increases the likelihood of more enemies appearing. Now see, right here we got lucky. There's the elevator. Now, how do we get back? Well, it's very simple. Take the elevator all the way down. You go grab the crystal with one of your companions. Now the companion who grabs the crystal is incapable of fending off enemies. So it's very crucial that you try to balance out your defenses, your ability to defend yourself with your resources so you don't overspend. Now I got very lucky there, because each one of these levels is randomly generated, using the calculations the developers had planned. Because sometimes it'll be way over there or somewhere else. You never know. You might not find the door till you've opened every other thing on the level. Now, we'll slowly start making our way over. Now, as you can tell, crystal makes your character extremely slow. Now, if you want, you could sit around and farm for a little while and rack up some extra dust. It will also occasionally drop orbs like this here. Like that's extra dust. If I wanted to, I would have to have a companion in that room to collect it. But you could do that. You could easily do that. So you could sit here and farm dust for a while, but eventually the mobs will overwhelm you, like right there. So you hit exit. Right on the elevator to the next level. And now we have level 2. I don't remember exactly how many levels there are. It is at least 10. That much I do remember. As you can imagine, the levels get progressively more difficult. Each companion does have their own different personalities. As you can tell, the nurse here was just screaming in all caps because she used to be a drill sergeant, I do believe. So she's used to screaming at people. Now this is a new companion. You can find these randomly in levels. Now this is one of the Team Fortress 2 guys, obviously. You can recruit him for 39 food. We have plenty of food right now, so we'll go ahead and pick him up. So now we have a third companion to use. Now he is the repair guy, so he can repair our modules. Lucky for us. So for now, plop an industry module down. And this is basically how the game works until you manage to get to the ending. Which is, you know, about what you would expect, I would assume, from a roguelike. There is a small modicum of story here, but it does play into the overarching story of the Endless Universe. In fact, it is widely believed that these people here that you play as serve as the progenitors of one of the factions in Endless Legend. If you've played any of these games, you would understand what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Nor is the story really prevalent or relevant in this particular game. I'm just informing everyone listening to the video that it is present. And that it is related to a greater whole that you can explore at your leisure. The Endless Universe's lore is rather expansive, surprisingly. Well, what are the odds? We got lucky again and found the elevator. We're having some really good luck with that. It's not a complex game, as you can see, but it's not exactly... It's not a complex game by any means. However, it's not exactly an easy game. For example, I've never completed the game in any serious capacity. Whew. Oh, poor Elise. Nobody seems to want to talk to her. And the game just continues on like this, more or less, until you reach the top. Now, like I said, the enemies get progressively more difficult. Ooh, this is different. Now, this here is... It basically gives you more dust at the expense of 30 industry, which I do not have at the moment. You can use those at any time if you feel it's worthy enough. Now, what does the dust get you in the game? Well, the dust can be used to improve, as you can see up there, the capacity of your crystal and merchant items. So, there you go. That's not something I can demonstrate at this exact moment, because I'm not at an appropriate level to demonstrate that, but it's not that hard to figure out, all things considered. Another special item. Some more food. Alright. Now, I'm sure you can understand the gist of the game by now. My intention was to simply show the game off, to explain some of the basic functions of how the game works, and showcase it to anyone who might not know what the game is, for anyone who might be interested in trying the game. It's not very expensive. You can easily find it on Steam. The developer as a whole is very good. Their endless universe is very interesting. It's not like, an entirely unique idea, but it's very fascinating. They have their own interesting takes on commonly used tropes. If you've not played the other games in this franchise, don't worry, they are not roguelikes. They are both, the other two games, Endless Space and Endless Legend, are both 4X strategy games. This is the only game in the franchise so far that is not a 4X. And Endless Space 2, the one they're currently working on, is also 4X. So this game is more of an anomaly than anything else. And he's playing guitar. How nice. Well, like I said, there's not much complexity to the game. You just have to be smart in your approach. In your resource management. And if you can manage to do that, then you'll be okay. You'll make it to the top. And the game has plenty of replay value due to the different methods in which you can start the game through the various pods that I showed you. And if you ever get lost, you can launch the tutorial at any time by just pressing the escape button. And this is the album. It'll reveal different lore snippets. As you progress. Again, it's only there for people who care about that. But that is basically the gist of Dungeon of the Endless. It's a decent time killer. I hope you found the video informative. If not, I apologize for wasting your time. I'm just trying to showcase a game some people might not know about. Just going over some of the basics, as my previous videos have done. So, with that, good day, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked it, let me know in the comments. If not, also let me know in the comments. You can flame me for wasting your time. It doesn't bother me at all. I hope you have a pleasant day. Thank you for watching.